was when you're like, love you. Bye. We're live, by the way. Just letting you know. thought you might want to know that. So guys, welcome to the Linus Tech Tips live stream. We've got a bit of a different setup this week, and if you were with us in the pre-show, then you probably already know that it's been a bit of a yes, some color. Good thinking. And get that tag on there. That looks awesome.
Yes.
And I'll put my fries that I never got to eat here.
Those are gonna fall.
Yeah, that'll be our decoration.
I would really not like those to fall.
Okay, fine. There, I'll move them. I'll move that tag too, because that's terrible. Anyway, so guys, we're going to have live calling in this week through Razer Comms. So what I need you guys to do is download Razer Comms with this bit.ly link right here. It's really important that you use this bit.ly link because Razer Comms is great. We're telling you it's great, and if you use that link as opposed to some other link, then Razer will know that we're the ones who told you about comms as opposed to somebody else, which is good. Thank you for that. It will be the only way to call in live, and Slick, why don't you share your experience with comms before we get too far into the show, and then we're ready to get started.
So far, my group of friends that I play games with, we used to use Skype because everyone had Skype, and everyone seemed to be compatible with Skype. We have a huge range of different mics in our group, so different voice clients we've had problems with in the past. Everyone used Skype because it worked, but it sucked because there's no rooms, and when someone, joins the call or tries to call you or something and the overlay comes over your screen and it clicking on it closes your game or whatever, it's insanely annoying because we all play fairly competitive games. So comms came out, we all disabled the screen overlay, and we're good to go. That's awesome. That's actually pretty much it.
And we're going to be using a bit of a unique system for having people be able to call in on comms. So if you plan to call in at some point during the show, it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to add wind speed 36. So wind whoosh, whoosh, and speed like that kind of speed. And 36 like your grandmother.
She's really young.
Yeah. Hot grandma.
That's weird.
No, I don't know. 36 like the number 36.
Invert it.
Yeah. 63?
Yeah.
That's still a pretty young grandma.
Yeah.
Mine too. My mom's younger than 63. She's a grandma.
You could easily be 63 and be a grandma, though.
Yep.
That's fairly young for a grandma, but the kid's probably really young at that point.
Yep. So anyway.
The most interesting conversation I think we've ever had.
Yeah, I think so too. You know what, guys? Why don't we actually give wind speed a little while to sort through the definitely boatload of people who are adding him, and let's get into our first topic here, shall we? So starting with... Oh, right, I'm on this one. Okay. So this is something that I'm really excited about. SMB 3.0. So this is a networking feature that's been added to Server 2012 as well as Windows 8 that is going to allow, among other things, network interface teaming, or that is to say kind of stacking them together for, in the past, more overall throughput, but only if there were multiple discrete connections coming in, and for failover, which is the way that they worked in the past. Well, now all of a sudden, with SMB 3.0, there is going to be the ability to take multiple network interfaces and stack them together for an increase in throughput on a single connection between supported devices. So you could actually have a quad NIC Ethernet card, and then you could have a quad NIC Ethernet card on the other side. You could team them together, and as long as they're both either Server 2012 based or Windows 8 based, you're going to be able to get a 4 gigabit per second connection between those two computers that is also fail-safe. So if one of the connections died or a cable became unplugged, the theory is that it would just be slower, but then it would all be good in the hood.
But even at that point, slower is still incredibly fast.
It's still 3 gigabit per second.
Yeah.
So I am super stoked on this.
This was possible, but not with those types of solutions before. It was only possible with much higher end solutions.
So now you're going to be able to ghetto kludge a super fast sort of, not even a backbone anymore, because it was pretty common to team multiple connections to a given, a NAS or something like that. But that would only affect like if you had 4 different computers accessing it, each of them could get gigabit. And so you'd get a benefit from the team. Now you can team the connections together and you can get higher speed to one machine, or you can get gigabit to 4 different machines. And I think that's freaking fantastic. Apparently it supports automatic configuration, so it'll automatically discover the existence of multiple available network paths and dynamically add connections as required, which I think is the coolest thing ever. And then, of course, the network fault tolerance that we talked about before. So the requirements for it are at least 2 computers running Server 2012 or Windows 8, as I said before. At least one of the configurations below. Multiple network adapters, 1 or more network adapters that support RSS, or receive side scaling, 1 or more network adapters configured with NIC teaming. And remember, guys, if you're doing teaming, you're going to have a switch that supports it as well. And 1 or more network adapters that support RDMA, or remote direct memory access. So pretty much multiple network adapters, and I think the configuration that I'd recommend for the most part would be something like a quad gigabit NIC, or something along those lines, where they're all very similar or the same, rather than teaming together a bunch of like random ones. But then again, with the automatic configuration, that could work too, which is, I think, pretty darn cool. So I think you're trying to figure out something there.
Yeah, you can keep moving. I'm good.
Ready to keep moving?
Yep.
Should we go ahead and take our first live caller ever?
Give us a sec. We're still prepping that.
Okay,
we will be good, but keep moving.
Okay, why don't I carry the show for now then? I think I would like, so if you guys want to start thinking about what you want to call in about, I think we're gonna have Doug Engelbart dying at the age of 88 as our call-in discussion topic. So he was the inventor of the mouse as we know it. If you've seen the mother of all demos, I believe, on YouTube.
Oh, yeah, the mother of all demos where he shows off. Yeah, that's actually pretty cool.
So this is back in the 60s, when this guy's demoing stuff that was just, like, I mean, basically, most of what we're doing today, in some form or another, was in that demo.
Yeah.
It was so far ahead of its time. And he recently passed away this week. It's brought up a lot of different sort of perspectives in various articles, with people talking about sort of how innovative he was in the early parts of his career, and then how ignored he got later on in his career. He couldn't find funding for any of his work. And what would the world be like if Doug Engelbart had gotten more funding later on for some of the ideas that he had, because he was such a visionary and completely changed the way that we interface with computers. I mean, before his team's invention of the mouse, you used a light pointer to interact with the computer.
And it was like military grade and terrible.
Yeah.
Military grade, like, because those are the only people that could really acquire it, and terrible because it was just not ready.
Well, terrible, and just, I mean, it would be terrible today.
Yeah.
Even imagine trying to point at your screen with, like, a laser pointer.
Yeah.
Think about it that way. How steady could you hold that? What if you needed pixel-precise movements? Ha!
Yeah. Not so good.
But it's okay, because it could be an 8200 DPI laser pointer pointed at your screen, right? Which wouldn't help with the shakiness.
Yeah, because your hands.
It's like, if only I could just hold it a little bit more still.
What surprised me, actually, was a lot of times when you hear about big inventions and big movements and stuff in computers, they're not as old as he was when his team came up with the mouse. Because if you think about it, that actually, like, he's 88, but that wasn't that long ago that he came out with the mouse.
Nope.
So, like, he was actually kind of in the old spectrum of people that release stuff for computers.
Well, the thing too is that it used to be a little bit different in that it was anyone working on a computer was like had a doctorate and worked at a university.
That's a
and
good
like
point. Yeah.
This is before the advent of the personal computer.
Yeah.
Which the way that he talked about it, the personal computer and the concept of the personal computer, because he was more into like networking and consolidating resources in one place that everyone could use. Cloud, anyone? So he was more about that, and then this whole personal computer and being disconnected from everything else idea came along and kind of kiboshed a lot of the things that he was trying to push. So I forget where I was going with that, but Something that somehow relates to the thing that he was talking about
he
before.
was way ahead of his time, so had awkward funding, and then was probably just always way ahead of his time, so he always had awkward funding.
So yeah, I mean, well, he was getting it back. Oh, right. So he was older, because anyone working on any of that kind of stuff was older at that time. So, someone wants to know why you're holding a Roku box, and I think what they mean is phone. Yes.
What's...
Someone asks on the Twitch chat what we think of the Xbox One and PS4. I think we've had quite enough conversation about that over the last little while here. And are we ready for our first live caller ever? Because I'm super stoked on doing this. Guys, don't forget, you got to download Razer Comms, not only to talk to us live on the show here, because...
No, we are not ready.
We won't be able to take too many callers, because it does take quite a bit of time, but it will definitely be cool, and you should definitely try out Razer Comms anyway, and you should definitely use this bit.ly link, because that helps us out a whole lot. Alright, I'm going to pop out this chat here. I'm going to turn off monitoring the stream. And let's go ahead into our next topic. So we're going to be discussing the inventor of the mouse passing away as our first live discussion topic. But for now, let's move into Final Fantasy VII on Steam. This is your news item, so take it away.
There's not a huge to go over here, a huge amount of stuff to go over here. It's Final Fantasy VII on Steam.
But that's a huge thing.
Yes, there was the 2012 release of Final Fantasy on PC.
But now it's on Steam.
But now it's on Steam.
Steam's better.
Yeah, I agree. It's very, very, very similar to the 2012 release. As far as I know, there's pretty much no differences. You have all of your saves in the cloud. I'm not
in the cloud.
I never actually thought about that before. That's
saves
pretty
in
funny.
the cloud. So like if that character dies, then not only do you die, but
your save file's deleted.
Yeah. That would be a fantastic game mechanic. Protect your party leader. If Cloud dies, it's over.
There's permadeath games. It's called permadeath. You lose your save file when you die.
Could also be called hardcore mode.
Yeah.
Or that might have been a different website. Not sure.
Anyways, there's cloud saves. So if you try and edit your file, you can't, because it'll be like, hey, that's not the right file. And
Are the cloud breaks? Is that when the cloud goes down?
Oh, man. There's also a character booster, which was featured in the 2012 release as well, which you can make your HP, MP, and Gil all go to 99999 and 4999999 respectively. So you can just like max out everything. If
you had a bunch of friends with Final Fantasy VII, could you like create a site where you could create new products and they could be cloud sourced? All the clouds could work together?
You need a DirectX 9 compatible graphics card, which is obviously really hard to find, and a gig of RAM, and a 2 gigahertz processor. So it's going to be difficult, but I think some of you out there can run it. Other than that, it's Final Fantasy VII. You get it on Steam. It's $12. Not a big deal. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I think the funny thing about this is Square Enix knows that the good games they made were a long time ago, and yet they keep marching in this direction, like determinedly away from that style of game. Why is that? You know what? I issue a challenge to any Square Enix, VP level or greater who are watching this stream right now. I don't know how many of them are watching, but you can sponsor us for one thing, but moving along, I would also like to issue this challenge. No more voice acting. Try a Final Fantasy game with no voice actors, because it kills the immersiveness of the story to limit the amount of dialogue in the game to what you can afford to produce with voice actors. Boom.
Yep.
It limits the number of dialogue trees that you can have. It limits the actual length of cutscenes, because, man, they take forever with voiceovers. Holy crap.
If you have a lot and you can afford it, so you have a lot of voice acting to go with it, it's good. I think.
I find it just slows it down. Slows down the game. And it slows down the development of our children. How will they learn to read if they don't read in video games? They're not reading books? Huh?
Did you hear that story about the kid that was in the doctor's office that walked up to the magazine and was trying to flip the page?
I told you that story.
Did you?
Yeah. That's where the world's heading. So, honestly, my mom, this is like 10 years ago, my mom had kids in her class who knew how to work. Okay, the kid was a little bit developmentally delayed, but the kid could spell Mario, but not his own name.
Oh,
Yeah.
sweet.
See, video games teach you to read. There's a benefit that, you can put in your pipe and smoke it.
Not at that age.
Well, no. Well, smoking is bad for your computer in general, so you probably shouldn't do it. That is the only reason. Man, it makes you look cool.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Okay, Linus Tech Tips does not in any way condone the consumption of tobacco
Seriously,
or other
neither of us even smoke.
I know.
No one on the team smokes.
No?
No.
I saw one of them do it once.
Really?
Yep.
That's lame. He's lame. I've already told him that. I heard about that.
All right, so we have our first live caller ever. You have the distinction and honor of being that thing that I said before. Zach, welcome to the show.
I don't think he's...
I think you probably hear us over there.
Yeah, but he's not in the...
Wait,
he's not...
you shouldn't have to do that here.
What are you talking about?
Wait, you shouldn't have to...
This is the waiting room.
Right, so we can move him over, right? Wait, no, but you shouldn't have this on here. Don't have voice chat on here.
It's muted.
Huh? I can hear weird crap. Turn that off. Don't be live there.
I'm not live on anything.
You're live here.
No, I'm not.
It's live in live show.
Live is the room name.
Oh, for crying out loud. Okay. So we are in the live show, and you should be able to move Zach over.
No.
Why not?
Because I don't have him on my friends list.
So we can move Zach over. Yeah. Okay. Don't worry, guys. We're going to have this figured out pretty shortly here.
I hear that, too.
I wonder what that noise is.
Do you hear that?
Yeah, I do. That's sort of weird. That's not something that we...
My computer's not doing anything with comms, so I'm just going to quit it.
Okay.
Just in case. We got...
Okay. That went away.
That went away. So even though I wasn't... Beta software, it's cool.
Yeah, comms is still in beta, so bear that in mind with anything that you're doing that has anything to do with it. All right. So, Zach, can you hear us? Zach says, and I quote, remember,
No.
Zach is our first viewer. Okay, well, I can't hear anything going on.
I only know one other person that spells their name that way. I only know one other Zach that
Is
spells
that
their name
AK?
that way.
I know one as well.
He's a good guy. He's pretty cool.
Yeah. This one might be too, but we'll have no way of knowing that if you can't...
Can't hear Zach. Zach is actually not connected. You can tell because if you are currently talking in Razer Comms, right beside it, it'll show a mic beside your name. So what's going on with Zach right now is he's talking in the waiting room, I believe, if you click on the waiting room. Yes, Zach, you are live in the waiting room. You are not live in the live show.
All right. Here we go. Zach, welcome to the show.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, sorry about that.
No problem. How's it going?
Okay, so my question was, I know you love your HTC One Slick and everything, but I was wondering if you ever got around to ROMing and rooting it. And I know Slick, I think he said somewhere in a previous video that he was also running a ROM, and I wanted to know which ROM and why.
Okay, well, the question about the HTC One, have I gotten around to ROMing and rooting it? The answer is no. The reality of it is that I'm not much of a phone power user, and I don't really get much of a benefit of it. There's nothing I really do on my Android phone that I couldn't already do on my iPhone, because I am not a power user like that. The only reason that I rooted and ROMmed my wife's phone was because there were some weird region-specific locks that I had to get around, and honestly, it was kind of a nightmare, so I kind of went like this. Okay, well, if I don't have a compelling reason to do it with the HTC One, then I'm not going to bother. Sense 5.0 doesn't bother me, and I'll let you go ahead.
I wasn't rooted for a long time, and then I moved to Cyanogen, And then I had a problem with, I run a beta app. It's been beta for freaking ever, but it's the Humble Bundle app. And I have a whole bunch of games through Humble Bundle because I've done a whole bunch of Humble Bundles. I can't find it. Okay, it's just called the Humble Bundle Beta. And while I was running CyanogenMod, this was a while ago now, so it might work now, I couldn't actually get it to work. It's very possibly patched now, but yeah, I've been stuck since then because I wanted my Humble Bundle app to work.
All right, thanks for your call, Zach. I think we're ready for our next caller.
I don't know how many were queued up, and I can't talk to them anymore. I'll talk to them here because I close calls.
All right, guys, so we're pretty new to this, so why don't we move into our next topic? Actually,
wait, we got Crazy Peanuts.
I got you a call here.
Oh, we got a call. Hi, Crazy Peanuts.
Peanuts.
Peanutus? Peanutus. Okay. Watch those usernames, guys. Okay, welcome to the show. What's your question?
Apparently his question is doorbell.
Hello.
Doorbell.
Oh,
Hello.
hello.
Hello. You're live.
Hello. I was wondering, is it worth it to upgrade to some of the newer Haswell processors if you have a current generation AMD processor?
Ooh, that's a good question. You want to take this one?
It's for a desktop. I don't necessarily know. There isn't a huge performance jump in between the actually previous Intel processors. So there would be wow.
It's quite the ringtone you've got there. I'm assuming that was a phone.
Sorry about that.
Okay, completely ignoring what just happened.
If there was any doubt that this show is live, then I think that pretty much got rid of that. So, Crazy Peanutus, we're going to answer your question, but we're going to drop you from the channel for now.
So,
What was his question?
Question was, if you're running a current generation AMD
Right,
CPU,
okay.
maybe I'll take this one. So basically, there's about a 5 to 10% performance improvement going from Ivy Bridge to Haswell. So Ivy Bridge was already faster than a current generation AMD CPU, particularly in some workloads where single-threaded performance is more important, such as gaming. So if you considered it worthwhile before, then it's slightly more worthwhile now. But it hasn't really changed much over the previous gen because we really do advocate that people should overclock. And once overclocked, Haswell's really not that different from Ivy Bridge, which really isn't that different from Sandy Bridge, because the overclocking headroom in each of these processors has been going down due to die shrinks as well as power optimizations that Intel has been building into their latest generation processors. So hopefully that answered your question. Let's go ahead and take another live call.
Another thing, if you're running like a home server or something, getting the low power... Getting the awesome low powerness of Haswell could be nice in a home server. Yeah.
All right.
Are we doing
Who's our
another
next caller?
person?
Yeah, let's do another caller. This is fun. I'm enjoying this. It's that, like, randomness factor.
Maybe, yeah, I was just gonna say, maybe we'll have some more awesome ringtones.
Maybe we won't have any more awesome ringtones. Guys, mute the stream, mute your phones. Okay, who's our next one?
I don't know if we have anyone lined up. Again, I can't monitor comms. Oh, man. Oh.
All right, are we getting somebody added?
Well, WinSpeed just started.
All right.
Yeah, I'm coming in. I've got someone.
Okay.
All right.
I kind of want to invite my mom.
Okay,
'Cause
they've
I kind of
disappeared.
wanted. Oh, he disappeared. Whoever we had just
You
disappeared.
should totally invite your mom. She's probably watching, so...
She is. She wanted to join.
Yeah. All right, tell her to call in.
Here
In the
we go.
meantime... Oh, we've got line fire. Oh, hey, it's you. What do you got?
Give us a second. What's the Jeopardy song? We probably can't sing it 'cause it's probably copywritten.
Do 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 do. It's hard to sing with it in my ear.
I just heard that, yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard to sing. It's
That's
like you
brutal.
go way off key.
Like, it's already hard to talk. It makes it so much worse.
And yes, Slick's mom will have exactly the same ringtone as that other guy.
Yep. Oh my goodness. Okay, Lamfire, what's up, dude? I can't hear anything. That is very
No, it's not
possibly
working
your...
out.
Did you just talk? I heard a... Unless he speaks whale. Okay, should we do a topic while we wait for
Yeah,
that to
let's
get
do a topic. I'm kicking Limefire. We're going to need a new person who can get their mic working there. Guys, this is going to be easier in the future once you guys all download comms and then play with it a little bit, get your gaming group going on it. Make sure they all use our download link as well. That would be very, very helpful. And then once you guys have figured it out, then this'll be easier.
Okay, that's me, yeah, okay.
Okay.
We're good.
All right.
You keep going, you keep going.
Why don't we go with... Ah, yes. Here's a good article. So this was posted on the Linus Tech Tips forum. So we're going to go ahead and give credit to the lady or gentleman who posted this for us. So it's 4 strings. Very interesting. It's an article from Security Watch, which you can check out over here. I'm just on my laptop here showing you guys what's up. So this Cloud Sweeper application tells you how much your email account could be worth to an attacker. And the thing to think about is that an email account in some ways is the most vulnerable thing in your online identity, more so than even something like a bank account or something like a like a government login. Because the thing about your email is that even though it might not contain any information per se, like you might just go, oh well, I've just got some emails there. The problem with email is that a lot of the time you're using it as an authentication for other things. So if I wanted to retrieve my password for something like my my GoDaddy account.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Right? I could lose all of my domains like that if someone got into my email. So when you think about it that way, all of a sudden your email is the gatekeeper to everything else. So that's why many people are moving towards using things like password managers, but even that doesn't get around it. So the most important thing, and one of the tips that this article puts out there is use two-step authentication. When I lost my Google or my YouTube accounts, and this must have been a couple of years now at this point, so someone hijacked my YouTube accounts, the one thing I didn't lose at that time was my Hotmail account, because when they changed my password, I immediately got a text message on my phone that said, hey dog, did you change your password? And I was all like, yo dog, no I didn't. So I went back in, changed it back again. And even though they were using a keylogger on my machine to hijack my accounts, because it had to go through my phone, there was nothing they could do to take my Hotmail account. At that time, I didn't have two-step verification on Gmail yet, so that was how I was able to lose my YouTube accounts. So guys, enable two-step verification and think about your email as if it's pretty much the most secure thing that you have to hold on to the tightest out of pretty much everything that you have.
Well, yeah, because when I read that article, I was like, oh, my email, I don't know, it's not that big of a deal. And then I'm like, oh, wait, Steam account, huge.
Yeah, how many hundreds of dollars
account,
is that worth?
Origin account, like bank accounts, because you can recover your bank account password through your email.
And how will you convince Valve that you're that guy if you can't use email to validate it? Yeah. How long does it take to get an email account that's been hijacked back if you can get it? Very challenging. I mean, having gone through Google's account recovery process, I can tell you it's brutal. If you don't remember weird random crap, like the month and year that you signed up for your account, who knows that? You may not get it back.
Yeah. And like even birthdays. A lot of times when I was first creating these accounts, I always put fake birthdays anyways. I mean,
Linus Tech Tips has a fake age on it. It says I'm 104 years old or something like that because I didn't know it mattered.
Yeah.
And I didn't know Google was going to be like, no, you may not change it ever. Which is ridiculous, by the way. If anyone from Google's watching, we're on to you.
Because, like, seriously, a lot of people don't put the right info for that.
But I could barely get my accounts back, and I was a YouTube partner at the time. And not a small one. Linus Tech Tips was a top 1,000 channel, which, okay, sure, one of 1,000. but top 1,000 in the context of YouTube is still pretty significant. We're not top 1,000 anymore, so tell your friends about Linus Tech Tips. Tell them to subscribe, because we're like...
All those damn makeup channels.
Yeah, I know. Makeup channels and music
And
channels.
music, yeah, makeup and music.
And comedians. We're not very funny, so there's nothing we can do to fight those guys, unfortunately. Wow, that'd actually be a great video. It's like just like a troll video, like it's an unboxing. And it's just like me making whale noises for like 2 minutes.
You should find something that can be used underwater. So something that's waterproof.
That would be awesome.
And then do the unboxing. You should do the
Sony
unboxing.
tablet.
Do the unboxing in a pool.
Yes.
Underwater.
Underwater.
Like, bring the whole box and, like...
Just be like...
Every cut can just be because you have to, like, go get
for air.
Oh, man.
Okay, so do we have a caller?
Maybe? Uh-oh.
Maybe not? Is Limefire back? You have such loud sneezes. Your mom was telling me about that.
That one wasn't too bad.
I heard one downstairs that was pretty loud though. Someone says just keep rolling with the show because we don't have a caller lined up yet. Okay.
Okay.
Well, let's move on to our next topic. You want to handle the next one?
Bike, sure.
All right. Next topic is the Android cryptographic master key discovered.
Okay,
so I'm going to bring this up and show it to the viewers. You start talking about this because this is kind of a big deal.
It is actually kind of a big deal. So when you have an app, you have your cryptographic key. That cryptographic key is what tells the Play Store and Google and everything that this is an official version of your app, to kind of make sure that if someone tries to release your app with it slightly edited with something bad on it, that the key's different and they won't be able to get it out there. The master key has been found, meaning that if that key is inserted, I can't talk like this, that if that key is inserted, it's accepted no matter what. So that's like really not good. It works for any devices from, I think, Android like
1.6.
1.6.
1.6 and on.
So 99% of devices are vulnerable, as it shows on screen. It's insane. If something like a Samsung Core app gets infected with this, that's huge, because apps like Samsung apps and some HTC apps, are like big player apps, have access to deeper parts of the phone than other apps do, which is like special rights access to deeper parts of the phone.
So this article's on Blue Box, by the way, and the demo that they do showing it working, I'm going to pop this up on the screen here, is they have a phone. So this is an HTC phone after they've exploited it, and they've changed the baseband version to Blue Box something or other.
Yeah.
Which you should not be able to do.
No. So it's kind of really bad. So I hope they fix it really fast.
And this is all amidst guys like Samsung trying to push the improved security of Android.
Google Glass,
Oh,
giving
right.
rights. This is my biggest thing is about
Oh,
Google
right.
Glass.
I didn't even think of
because
that.
another article that I have in here is they just released a huge FAQ about Google Glass, because people were worried about all this kind of stuff. Different things that they said is, if Google Glass is ever on, it'll have the illumination. Mm-hmm. So you can tell when you're talking to someone if Google Glass is illuminated that they're using Google Glass.
But if they had a compromised app that could access that level of the hardware, you could just turn stuff like that off.
They could find some way to hack into something and turn off that light, make voice notifications so they're not needed, do something. Like if, I don't know, they're crazy hackers. Like,
I mean, okay, and then another scary thing was that one of the other use cases that Blue Box proposed for this was to create a zombie botnet with phones. Now, the phones, unlike computers, are always on. Or even when they're off, they're not really off. So if you were to create a zombie botnet that did something like, say, for example, so to DDoS,
yeah.
okay, you could rely on your entire botnet at a moment's notice to hit something.
That's so beast.
If you were to use it for something like faking YouTube views or faking Twitter followers or whatever else, you'd have access to these devices that are connected, they're location aware,
You can
take
guarantee
pictures.
someone followers or views within minutes instead of days.
Yes. even seconds, which is just absolutely crazy. And I mean, even now, exploits exist that can allow a phone to have a picture taken that is triggered by a remote. We never talked about the fridge phone thing.
Right. Okay. We've kind of steered away from too much stuff with NSA stuff. That's why I didn't put it in the list of stuff to talk about.
No, I think we should talk about that because it's a cool.
Sure. No,
cool
I think it's awesome.
thing.
Yeah. Okay.
So Edward Snowden is the guy who's...
Is it Snowden or Snowden?
Snowden? I don't know. In English, it's Snowden.
I say Snowden, but I've heard Snowden.
Okay, well, Edward, Snowden.
Sweet. Okay. Anyways, so he tells reporters and people that come talk to him for interviews or whatnot to put their phones in the fridge. He doesn't necessarily care if they turn them off. That kind of surprised some people. The idea is that it's so well insulated and has like steel panels on it that it will block signals going in and out. And it'll block voice going in and out. So if you're trying to listen to it, you can't hear it because it's so well insulated. And if you're trying to get into it, you can't because of steel panels. Which is very interesting because a lot of people would think, oh, I'll just turn my phone off. It doesn't really work that way. A lot of phones can still be activated to take a picture while they're off because the off mode on phones is actually more of a sleep mode than anything. It's still kind of running. So unless you actually rip the battery out, and a lot of phones nowadays, HTC iPhones,
yep.
You can't rip the batteries out. So what he does is he just asks people to throw their phone in the fridge. It probably won't hurt it. It's probably fine for fairly short periods of time. And it blocks everything. So that's actually pretty cool.
And it'll probably run faster.
Because you're cooling it?
Yeah.
You overclock your phone?
Yep.
Sweet.
In fact...
Everyone should run their phones out of refrigerators.
Yeah, everyone should just live in a fridge.
You overclock our own bodies.
Yes.
Sweet.
Actually, I think our bodies run more efficiently when we're warmer.
When it's not too warm though, right?
Not too warm.
It's like this.
But like a little bit warmer. Like that's why you warm up when you're gonna like compete in an athletic thing. Like for example, if I warmed up a bit, I could probably destroy you in an arm wrestle if you were cold.
We should try this. I'll stand in a walk-in freezer for a little while.
I think that this show is more about theoreticals and less about actual contests of raw strength.
Okay, whatevs.
Okay, do we have a caller?
Do we? I think we should wait until they tell us that we have a caller.
Okay.
Instead of just randomly being like, let's take a caller.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's... Okay, we've got people asking how to be a caller. This link right here, download Razer Comms.
Use this link.
Yeah, please use this link. Add wind speed 86.
36.
36. Whoa, that's going to be a problem. Add wind speed 36. And then he is the one who is handling our incoming calls. So we have a caller, Delons. Hello. What you got?
Oh, that's the waiting room.
Oh, I'm the wrong one.
So you need to...
I got you a caller in the live chat for you. Limefire.
Okay.
Limefire.
Oh, Limefire. Are you working now? Is it working now? Okay, switch us over to Delons. All right. So we've got our caller waiting in the waiting room.
More like misfire.
All right. Welcome to the show, Delons.
Hello?
Hi.
Hello.
You're live.
First of all, I do not have an annoying ringtone. I have the Galaxy S4 ringtone. Nothing to worry about there.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yay.
So, I have negative airflow in my half 912, and would the difference between positive and negative airflow really have a big difference in my daily computing?
Great question. All right, I'm going to boot you because that makes it a little bit easier for us.
Thanks.
There we go.
Sorry about that.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
All right, so good question. So the half 912 is a very airflow optimized case. It doesn't necessarily have the kinds of advanced fan filtration systems that many other cases do. So an example of a case that has a very filtered intake would be something like a Fractal Design Arc MIDI, where the entire front of the case has like a thick mesh that all the dust will get caught in. Now, negative airflow versus positive airflow, we're going to discuss that very, very briefly here, is do you have slightly lower air pressure inside your case than outside, or do you have slightly higher air pressure inside your case than outside your case? So you can achieve negative air pressure, so negative closer, so less pressure inside the case by having all of your fans as exhausts. So they're all working to move air out of the case. You could achieve the opposite effect by having all of your fans as intakes. Obviously, neither of those scenarios would be quite optimal because your fans would be working against each other rather than moving fresh air into the case and moving hot air out of it. However, it is beneficial to have slightly more intake than exhaust. And the reason for that is to do with dust prevention. So the HAF 912, because you're not using filtered intakes, probably won't benefit from this that much. But a positive air pressure case with filtered intakes means that you won't be getting dust coming in from your intake fans, and because you have a slight positive pressure buildup inside the chassis, little tiny nooks and gaps in the metal, like around the bottom of the case, will actually have a constant outflow of air, which will prevent dust from coming into those holes. Whereas if you had negative pressure, then they would actually be acting as very small vacuums, pulling dust into these areas where it can't be easily exhausted. So an example of an optimal setup would be something like 2 front intake fans that are both filtered, and then a single exhaust fan that is not filtered. In your case, probably not going to make that big of a difference day to day, and you can always clean out your system regularly to counteract any of the negative effects of dust buildup and positive or negative airflow, but that you'll have to do it. Whereas if you have filters and you have positive pressure, then you don't have to think about it nearly as often. Thank you for your call. Good call. And thank you for not having a ringtone that is full of slurs.
Just all the slurs. Okay, so I was thinking maybe we ask the Twitch chat if they want people to ask questions like they are now, or if they want us to propose a topic to talk about, give a very, very short overview of it, talk about other things, and then have callers about that topic and jump back to it.
Okay.
So what do you guys think, Twitch chat? Topic, ask questions.
They want your mom to call in.
I'm trying to get her to add wind speed.
Oh, is she having trouble with comms?
She was having a little bit of trouble. The problem is I can't monitor comms right now.
Right.
So I can't like add her and help her figure it out.
Right.
So I don't have like live dialogue other than the chat, and then the chat moves so quickly that I don't think she can see it. Add
right.
wind speed 36, Mom.
That's awesome. All right, so why don't we move into our next live stream topic then? This is... Wow! This is the first time we've linked to the Inquirer on our show.
Is it?
I used to read the Inquirer religiously.
Did you?
Yes.
I've never... This is the first time I've read the Inquirer.
I used to read the Inquirer every day, every single day, no matter what, every article. Back when it was Mike McGee, Charlie Demirijan, Fuad Abazovic, or however you say his name, they had a team of people where they had this reputation for being a non-credible news source. But if you actually paid attention and actually went back and checked the rumors that they were publishing first, usually, a lot of the time it was on. So you can still find Charlie at semiaccurate.com. You can still find Fudo at Fudzilla, and I don't know where Mike ended up, but they all kind of scattered to the winds, and it's a completely different team there now, new ownership. At any rate, AMD joins the Document Foundation to push GPU acceleration in Libra Office.
This is mainly cool because of Excel.
Well,
I'm sure...
not Excel. I'm sure they call it something else.
Calc.
Calc.
My bad.
It's like some Microsoft zombie brainwash.
I'm just and it's writer instead of word, but then sometimes I accidentally say word. But then more often for Office I say writer instead of word.
I've never heard you say writer, so
really?
Whatever you want to tell yourself.
Have I said word very much? We never use it.
Whatever you want to tell yourself.
We never use word.
I use word.
When?
To write letters and shiz, yo. Word.
I just use Notepad. I use Notepad for everything.
I know you use Notepad. It's terrible. It doesn't have autosave. How many times has that burned you? How many times has that burned me? Because then I get to pay you to redo work that would have been fine if you'd been using Word,
Word would
which
have
is
taken
on your
longer.
computer.
It would have taken longer. Anyways, it's mainly good because of calc, because if you're someone who has like massive amounts of data in calc, and there is a lot of people that have this, it can chunk through that data faster. Also, if you have an incredibly complicated algorithm or equation setup, which again, a lot of people actually do,
Like long macros, things like that.
huge macros, or just, yeah, anything. There's tons you can do with applications like calc and Excel, so there are a lot of applications for this. Now the GPU can actually help you on the chip. So that's actually really cool.
I mean, GPU is very optimized for these kinds of calculations, whereas the CPU will have to process one thread or up to, 4 or 12
Integer
threads or
versus
however
floating
many.
points and stuff.
Yeah. Whereas the GPU will be able to tackle it from so many different angles at once. It's just very optimal for that kind of a workload. It's much like something like how in-game physics doesn't run as effectively on a CPU necessarily as it can on a GPU. With even companies like AMD that make both saying, oh, well, if we're going to build TressFX, it's going to run on the GPU because that's more efficient for that particular workload. So do we have another caller ready?
I'm just trying to get Dim set up. There we go. Okay, sorry.
All right. So I see Thor waiting in the waiting room. Guys, do you want to move him over?
Yeah, I'll move him over now for you.
All right. Thanks, boss.
Thor is one of our Twitch chat mods.
Is he?
Yes, he is.
I didn't know that. That's embarrassing.
You added him.
Did I?
Yes.
Oh, is he one of the originals?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that explains why I don't know who he is,
And
because...
he's been around, and he joined the Skype chat group.
All right, Thor, you're live on Linus Tech Tips for the first time. Everyone's going to learn how to use comms, and it's going to be great.
Thor streams, so I'm sure he's got this. Come on, Thor.
Hello?
There we go.
Hey, there we go. Welcome to the show.
I was wondering how to go about overclocking an i7-920. I have no experience overclocking.
This might not be the Thor I was thinking of.
No, it's not. I have no
Okay.
So you were thinking of, like, the god with the hammer.
No, there's a Thor who's one
No,
of our...
I know-
Sorry,
I know
we'll
that.
stop ignoring his question.
Okay, I'm going to answer your question with a very old and actually one of my most popular videos ever. So Thor, I'm booting you, not because we don't like your call, just because it's easier for me to do that at the beginning here as opposed to later. So I'm going to go ahead and fire this up. Okay, I'm going to have to figure out a good keyword for this. So YouTube Core i7 overclocking. Let's try that. All right. This right here is NCIX Tech Tips number 19. So I made this, wow, almost 5 years ago. So this is back in November of 2008. And the chip that I use, I believe, is an Extreme Edition. I'm not, actually, I don't, wow, the description doesn't even say what chip I use, but you can follow pretty much the same principles as I outline in this video, regardless of which motherboard you're using and which CPU you're using. So there you go, guys. It hasn't changed much since then. That video has almost 800,000 views.
That was a good video.
So for any of you who don't already follow NCIX Tech Tips, so it's youtube.com/NCIXcom, we are still uploading videos regularly on there, about 3 or 4 a week. So we are very much still there.
Sorry for thinking you were the wrong person. You have the same name. They're both called... I guess
They're
Thor's a
both
pretty
called
common
Thor.
name.
I don't think anyone's name is Thor, so...
Display name.
Oh, display name. I see what you mean. I had misunderstood that before. Also, I'm a troll. Which could have... Oh, I just closed the tab with the live stream doc. Okay, I guess you're picking the next topic then.
Well, I wanted to actually get a user to call in for this part.
Okay.
I
All right.
wanted to do AT&T may be selling customer data.
Ooh, this is that patent, right?
No,
Oh, is this a whole different
this
thing?
is a whole different thing.
No, okay, I didn't hear about this. Go ahead.
Okay, so AT&T is considering selling its customers wireless and Wi-Fi locations, Uverse usage, website browsing habits, mobile app usage, and other information. The information will apparently be anonymous. They'll just sell it in like bucket loads, but information is pretty specific, so they can probably figure out who it's for pretty easily. That's my view on that, at least. Users will apparently have an option to opt out of the program. There's no announcement of when they're starting the program, and there's definitely no announcement of how you will be able to opt out of the program. In contrast to that, I'm going to jump off that right away and actually do two topics at the same time. Twitter will now be doing user-specific advertisement, but you can opt out. It's super easy, and if you click, it's like very, very obvious. It's on the main page of their settings. And if you click to learn more, they're super transparent about how it all works.
Okay. I don't inherently have a problem with targeted advertising.
I do and don't. I don't have a problem with it where I'm like, oh, that's not right, blah, 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 blah. But I like seeing ads for a huge range of things because I'm not just interested in the things that I'm Google searching all the time. So I like turning it off because if I see something that's interesting, maybe not to me, but someone I know, I might share it. So I don't think targeted ads even work for me personally, because if I see like a networking thing on the side, I'm not going to be that interested in it. And most websites that are doing targeted ads for me are giving me like Barracuda Networks, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm not buying this stuff.
I would have thought they would be like dumbbells, because you don't even lift, bro.
I do. You don't lift.
That's true. Okay, I had that wrong. I mean, for me, okay, to say that the ads aren't effective for you because of X, Y, or Z may be a bit of a misleading statement, because I would say that targeted ads aren't effective for me because I haven't seen an ad on the internet in over 5 years.
You just ignore them, right?
Not because I use AdBlock, because
just ignore them.
I don't believe in AdBlock. AdBlock, well, I believe it exists, but I don't believe that it should, because one of the things that supports guys like us is logos like this on our content, pre-roll ads that run before our content, and if it wasn't for that, then this wall wouldn't be here, this guy wouldn't be here, I wouldn't be here.
If that didn't exist, this wall would probably be painted and be less boring.
That's true, because someone else would live here.
Well, no. If AdBlock didn't exist,
If AdBlock didn't exist.
it would be easier for us to paint this wall.
Did you comb it with a brush?
A brick.
A brick. No, combing with a brush almost makes sense. Anyway, I mean, I don't understand how anyone actually sees an ad on the internet, because it's so obvious which ones they are. I mean, I noticed the odd one, like a very effective one, like Kmart's Ship My Pants, or the, I think there was like a plus-size model one that they were rolling on YouTube for a little while that I was just like, plus-size lingerie, and they have a bunch of models like running around, and I'm like, well, that's noticeable.
I saw one for a TV show. I don't remember what it was called. The only reason why I noticed it was because it looked so horrible, and I clicked on it to watch the ad because I was like, what is this possibly about? And watched the ad and then was like, wow, that looks super horrible. And then I noticed that only like 1,400 people had actually watched the ad. I was like, wow, you're spending a lot of money on this and no one cares.
Well, yeah. Okay, do we have another caller? Let's take another caller. I'm enjoying this, because I don't have to deal with the grunt work of actually sorting through the callers. Thanks, guys. You guys are awesome.
And we just have no idea if they're ready or not.
Yeah, we have no idea.
Not a clue.
We're just hoping. I guess if I check the waiting room, yeah, there looks like there should be a caller. Shaun.
Maybe Shaun will be moved over.
Perhaps. Perchance.
Sky. Oh, that's a really interesting topic.
Okay, we'll talk about that after. Shaun, welcome to the show.
Make sure you click the little headset button that's at the top of the window that you're hopefully currently looking at, which is Live in Live Show. That will... Why is he... That's... Oh, never mind.
Hello?
Hello, Shaun.
Yeah, hello. My question is do you think one day will Microsoft overtake the living room? So, for example, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, we can hear you just fine.
Do you guys think Microsoft will, for example, people won't be going out buying DVD players, or providers won't be giving TV boxes, for example, do you think one day people will just get the Xbox One to do everything?
Great question. Okay, we're going to go ahead and boot you. Thank you for calling in.
All right, no worries.
As far as
Go ahead, you go first.
that was interesting. As far as DVD players go, I actually already see this happening, and especially with PlayStation 3 with the like this is where I'm saying where its root was. PlayStation 3 with the Blu-ray player built in.
Yeah.
A lot of people would go and just buy a PlayStation 3 because not only would they get the Blu-ray player, but even if they didn't play games, there's all this other functionality built into it. So stuff like Xbox One will have that up where people will buy it instead of these other devices, and I do see those other devices dwindling away.
But here's the thing that gives me pause, because Shaun's question was specifically, do you think that PS4 or Xbox One was
Xbox
the
One
example
more
he gave,
specifically, yeah.
Xbox One will be able to take over the living room? I don't think Xbox One will be able to take over the living room. It's too soon.
Yeah.
I don't think Xbox 2 or 4 or whatever that'll be by that point, I don't think the next gen Xbox will necessarily win that battle either, because I think that the way that convergence works is neither one of the existing devices will necessarily be the one. So look at Samsung's acquisition of Boxy. Did you hear about this?
Yes.
So Samsung acquired Boxy, which is pretty much software. And the idea is that with that built into their TVs, they've unlocked a completely new level of smart TV. Because Boxy, compared to Samsung's integrated smart TV functionality, is just like Samsung's smart TV was a joke, and Boxy is not a joke by any stretch of the imagination. So what we might see instead is between like a Boxy-enabled TV and an Xbox One, and like somewhere in the middle, because Boxy is very similar in that it is able to overlay on top of whatever else is going on in your content. It's able to act as a guide. It's able to be internet connected all the time. So this functionality is all becoming very muddy, and who owns what and in what territories, because as much as the internet has turned the world into a much smaller, more global community, there are still things that baffle me. Like, for example, that like when I learned that Palette was the largest video card maker in China, I was like, really?
What?
Because I'd hardly heard of a Palette video card.
Yeah.
The internet, as long as language barriers exist and as long as governmental barriers exist, is only going to do so much. So Xbox One may be dominant, or Xbox 2 or Xbox 5 or Xbox 26 or whatever, may be dominant in the US, where Microsoft is so focused, but in other markets it might be something else entirely, totally different.
This brings up an argument that we actually talk about a lot. Not necessarily an argument, a discussion that we talk about a lot, which is the idea of games being streamed. Maybe iteration 3, 4, 5 of this later on, way down the line. Maybe the first platform for games to be brought down through streaming will be the console platform, and maybe you'll just buy a TV and you're done.
And you're done. And that TV might run Android.
It might run Android. It might have the Xbox service built into it, or the PlayStation service built into it.
And you look at how close something like a mobile processor in a phone or a tablet is getting to the actual type of processor that they've put in the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. A highly integrated processor that has everything that needs, very low power. I mean, compared to PS3 and Xbox 360 at launch,
They were hogs.
they were hogs. They were power hogs. They were based on hardware that was very powerful at the time, whereas the AMD-based chip is more of like a laptop CPU than anything else. And then it's got a more beefed up GPU, but that's about all that's going on there. It's really not that different from something that might be running on a tablet. So
I could see that, actually.
I think that the days of dedicated set-top boxes are numbered, though.
I think, at least, if nothing else, the release of Xbox, especially Xbox One, and PlayStation, well, for this especially Xbox One and PlayStation 4, will be a catalyst into this kind of thing happening. Consolidation of different devices in front of your TV, and it's just going to get more and more like that, especially with this launch.
And everyone can be as butthurt as they want about the Xbox One not being focused on gaming, or whatever way they want to spin it. But at the end of the day, in 10 years or 20 years, in 20 years, your kids are going to be completely baffled that that level of integration didn't always exist. Think about that for a moment. They're going to be like, oh, it's okay, it'll hit the boom pole. They're going to be like, what? You had to have like a receiver and more than one box under the TV?
Wait, you mean there was boxes under the TV?
A box?
Cables?
It's jokes, right? So there you go. Someone says, what if we don't have kids? Then you can be really creeped out when your kids ask you questions, because that's weird, man. Let's take a caller.
Wow. Okay.
I want a caller.
Are we ready for a caller?
Let's do it.
I don't know if we're ready for a caller. We are checking. Oh.
Our moderators are actually going to be filtering people, so we're looking for guys with the most discussion-friendly questions. Don't just call in to ask about like our favorite color.
We've got Ghost.
Oh, it's Ghost. Oh, that guy. Oh, is he on right now? Just kidding. Go ahead, man.
He looks connected. Can't hear him.
Ghost started voice chat.
Oh.
My question was, I was thinking of getting the 760 GTX.
That's not a question.
Oh, I was going to say like 760 GTX, or should I wait for ATI to come up with something equivalent?
All right. Good question, Ghost. We're going to go ahead and boot you. Thanks for calling in.
Sure. Love your show.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ghost.
All right. So, good question. GTX 760. Solid card.
Yep.
Okay. We can both agree on that.
Got some overclocking room.
Yep. Got some, particularly the DirectCU2, which you guys haven't seen the results for yet. I haven't released that video yet.
Okay.
But
we've only done 2, but there was a big difference.
Yeah, between the reference card and the Asus DirectCU2. But the thing about... Oh, good night, you guys.
Bye.
But the thing about the 760 is there's nothing next generation about it.
No.
It's a GK104 chip, which pretty much hasn't changed since the release of the GTX 680, which was a long time ago. And GTX 760 isn't as fast as a 680 either. It's more like a replacement for something like a 670. It's a hair faster than it. So
it's more of
or hair faster than 660 Ti, rather.
Yeah, yeah.
Now AMD said earlier this year that they wouldn't have a new architecture in 2013. However, I think what they also said at one point was they weren't going to have a new card.
And they definitely have a new card.
The 7790 is a new card, and it's a new architecture. And it's already out. So AMD has been playing their cards very close to their chests. We have no idea what they have planned.
This year's been going really fast. I thought that was last year.
I
It
know,
took me a
right?
second to be like, oh.
Yeah, I know. It's like July this year.
Yeah.
Linus Media Group has been running for over 6 months, so like...
On like collectively 3 days of sleep.
Yeah. So pretty much the answer to this question is the same answer that it'll always be, and that is we don't know. Until it reaches about a week or 2 weeks or even maybe 3 weeks from launch, all the rumors are just rumors and not that meaningful. Nobody knows how a Radeon 9000 series card is going to perform. No one outside of a very select few at AMD knows when it's coming or how it'll be priced. But one thing I can tell you is that compared to the 700 series, which they'll be going up against directly, it's going to be pretty similar. Both AMD and NVIDIA do extensive performance analysis of each other's products. So, I mean, what have we seen for the last half a dozen launches? A card comes out, it's priced 10% faster than this one, and how much does it perform better than it?
10% better.
10% better. So if we see an 8000 series card that costs 20% more than that one, it'll probably perform about 20% better, and everyone will be happy, and it might be slightly more power efficient, etc., etc., etc.
One thing that I could really see, and I know this is like heavily a software issue, but with a release of new cards, you will probably see a big fix for frame rating.
Not yet on AMD.
No,
They
but
won't
with,
have
with
hardware.
the release of new cards.
Oh, okay. Well, by then they should have the driver sorted out.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, I
like
see. Yeah.
it'll be fixed before there's a release of new cards or at the same time. I don't think they're going to release a new set of cards until they figure all that out.
So by the time a new series comes, we should be looking at a situation where you can comfortably and safely run AMD Crossfire and know that you're actually getting the performance boost that you thought you were.
Yeah.
Are we ready with another caller?
I believe we are.
All right. Let's rock this thing. This is fun. I like having people call in. You know what? I'm on Twitch chat right now, so guys, let me know what you think of the whole live caller concept in Twitch chat. Everyone's just demanding your mom.
She's coming. We gotta figure things out.
People say it's awkward and horrible.
Is it?
But other people say it's good. Other people say it's diabolical.
Wow.
That's totally meaningless in this context. But I love it.
And aggressive.
And aggressive. Wow, and they love that you said your mom's coming.
Oh.
And apparently you should raise your dongers.
Oh my god, I'm so tired of that. Woo.
Someone wants Tasty PC to call in. I really don't think she's watching right now, guys. I'm pretty sure that it's pretty late over there. All right.
Okay.
Is our caller ready to rock?
What's going on, guys? I can't move over. I think
a
Chris
bit
is
of technical
broken.
difficulties.
Oh, okay. There we go. We can hear you now.
with the caller.
There we go.
Here we go. Might be working now.
All right. Mama knows best. Welcome to... Oh, is that your mom?
She's popularly called in. I clicked on it. You did. Good job. We can't hear you, though. Was she working in the waiting room?
I don't know. I wasn't in there. I was dealing with other people.
Oh.
Okay, well, while Slick's mom figures this out, maybe we'll do a short additional topic. Technet is gone.
Oh.
And actually, this might not be that short of a topic, so I'm going to be buying some time for Slick's mom to figure out the stream and how to talk on it. So if you guys aren't familiar with it already, Technet is basically a way for IT managers or anyone working in a test environment to have access to Microsoft software to install and use and try and play around with in a non-deployment environment. So we actually have a Technet account, which is the only reason that we're really able to run all the Windows software that we do. So when we want to be able to just film a video and demo something, we can't afford to necessarily buy a full license of Server 2012 so that we can show you guys, you know, a quad channel teaming Ethernet connection using SMB 3.0. So that's not something that we can do. An IT manager who works from home a lot of the time and builds like a replication of the type of IT structure that's at work at home with a bunch of machines in a non-deployment environment is another example of someone who might use a Technet account, which is only a few $100s a year for pretty much access to every piece of software that Microsoft makes. So Office, server, Windows, anything you can pretty much imagine.
All their SDKs.
All the SDKs.
Like it's tons of stuff.
It's tons of stuff, and it is extremely useful. But they are getting rid of it. So you will have until August 31st to get yourself a Technet account, and then it will be done. MSDN, so I've got people talking in the Twitch chat about MSDN, is a much more expensive of what is a similar idea where it's a subscription-based service that gives you access to all of Microsoft's library. And even then, MSDN has quite a few tiers, and in order to even get into the Office tier, it is several thousands of dollars a year. So I personally think this is a huge disaster because it is going to eliminate one of the ways that Microsoft has been able to enable IT managers to test things and work on things and tweak things. Okay, sorry, give us one moment. And to tweak things in a non-deployed environment so they can, you know, oh, is it going to work when I roll out this update or I roll out this new version of Office to all of the laptops in the entire enterprise? Got to be able to test that stuff.
That's pretty important, actually.
And you can't just be buying $1,000 licenses to try stuff.
No.
It doesn't work that way.
No.
So this is a big disaster. I really hope that Microsoft changes their mind about discontinuing Technet. I mean, you look at how unpopular their decision was with Xbox One to do a bunch of the stuff they were doing. They did do an about-face on that. But I don't think the Technet community is big enough to make them feel it enough to not discontinue this this project. I mean, the home server was a similar thing.
They've done a series of unpopular things, actually. Technet, Xbox One, the start button, which is like not a start button.
Yeah, that was terrible.
It's like instead of being hidden in the corner, now it's a button. We listen to you, but not.
It still does the same thing, though, which is not good.
Okay. Hello, Mom.
Hold on, someone says, why bother with Technet? You could just go with DreamSpark if you're a student. Do I look like a student to you?
Hey.
He's not a student.
Okay, hi Slick's mom. Welcome to the live show for the first time.
Hi.
Hi.
We're on this
Are you-
weird delay thing. I'm not sure I can figure that out.
Are you listening to the stream? Because you should be listening through comms, not through the stream. So mute your in your browser where Twitch is. Mute Twitch.
Yeah.
That's
I don't
very
know.
good. Good question.
Hey, how are
caller.
you, sweetie?
I'm good. What was you said you had something to talk to Linus
Hey,
about?
Mr. Linus, do not boot me. I have a few things I need to say.
I feel like I should probably hit that boot button now as opposed to waiting for this.
First of all, you are a father of a young child. You have no business speeding around on that motorcycle. And now
Why
you are
did you tell
thinking
your
of a
mom about
second
that?
child, so you have even double the no business riding around on that motorcycle.
That's where that's coming from. I actually didn't tell her that.
Oh, you didn't tell her that. Okay.
Oh, she was watching the stream.
Yeah, she was probably watching the stream.
No, I know all.
Okay, well, I've been thoroughly chastised
And
for
you
that
dissed
now.
your feed that you did the other day in the middle of the day.
What did I do?
And I caught that whole feed, and it wasn't that bad.
Okay, well, thank you. I was doing a mic test.
That
Apparently
live
your mom
stream
was
you
watching.
did during the day the other day.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, now I see everything. You treat your motorcycle well, do you not, Mr. Linus?
I do, yes.
You take good care of it because it's an asset, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay, Mr. Slick is a great asset that you have, and he's very tall. So the heat in his office bothers him quite badly. And that little funky fan that's in that room with the multicolored pastel colors is just not going to cut it.
Okay, hold on.
needs an air conditioner.
I have to defend myself here very briefly.
And
that fan, because of its positioning on the ceiling, is very close to his head.
which is a danger. It's a dangerous thing. Okay, and the other thing is, Mr. Linus, you did not miss your blue keyed keyboard, so why can't Slick use it? You didn't even know that he was using it. You didn't even know it was missing. So there's no reason that he shouldn't be able to use that.
Okay, I have one reason, and I think Slick can actually agree with me on this reason. Slick, I don't think I told you this at the time, but that is the only blue switch keyboard I own.
Oh, no, I know.
You just don't care.
Yeah.
Oh.
You don't use it. You'll never use it. You don't like blues.
I like blues.
Aw,
browns
where's
and
my
blacks,
violin?
Oh. Oh.
Okay, well, thank you, caller. This has been fantastic. fantastic, and I will see you. I'll see you again, but hopefully not that soon.
Bye, Mom.
Bye, sweetie.
Bye, Mom.
Am I sweetie or is he?
I am.
I'm pretty sure I can be too.
Don't think so.
I'll remove her from the group before she can answer. Bam.
Quit speeding on your motorcycle.
Alrighty then, so that was Slick's mom. That was the legit Slick's mom. A lot of people have been asking in the Twitch chat, is that person who goes by the name of Slick's mom actually Slick's mom? The answer is yes. Yes, that is indeed Slick's mom. She watches every stream, even the one that I did without you.
Yep.
Yeah, which surprised me. Ahem. So, Sky Deutschland, to transmit messages
really
in your
interesting.
head while you rest on the train.
Did you have time to really read through this?
I skimmed through it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so check this out. This is some futuristic crap here, guys. All right. From the Telegraph.
What I think is amazing is that...
Well, hold on. Tell them what it is first.
Okay, so basically it's bone transmission technology? Is that what they call
Yes.
it? Bone conduct...
Whatever. Okay, it works the same way as the original jawbone, which instead of relying on sound waves transmitted through the air, actually relies on vibration from your jaw. Tiny vibrations to reproduce the noise of your voice and transmit that to the other person. So this is a similar technology, vibration-based.
So what's going to happen is when you're on, I believe, SkyTrain, you lean against the window. A lot of people sleep on here, so when you lean against the window, it'll make contact with the window and it'll start pushing advertisements.
Like SkyTrain, more like Skynet. Internet. Sky Internet. I think the internet part was implied.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Anyways, so you can push advertisements to people that are trying to peacefully sleep on the train. And what I think is hilarious, in their video advertisement, it shows some guy, like, tired, getting comfy, and he leans over, puts his head against the window, and he's like, "Ah, what the heck?" And I'm like, that's exactly what's going to happen. No one's going to like this. Another thing I thought of is, if it's quiet enough, if people sleep while they're on the train, if you have an advertisement constantly being pumped to you while you're sleeping, doesn't that make you want it?
Lightspeed briefs.
Yeah.
It's going to be Lightspeed briefs all over again, except Lightspeed briefs hasn't happened yet because it's in the year 3000, so it's going to be that, but sooner. That, my friends, is what is going on here. Personally, I like, part of me wants to say, how could this possibly be legal? But on the other hand, the problem with audio advertising all over the place is that it's obnoxious and distracting. Whereas if you're leaning on the window, pretty much by definition, you shouldn't be doing anything that you could be distracted from. And, like...
The thing is with that is, like yes, I completely agree. But at that point in time, you can put in headphones or something, tune everyone out, and sleep on the train. A lot of people work a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of people do actually sleep on the train. And, like, it just won't let you. And their whole thing is like, are you bored on the train? Oh, it's like, no, people are tired.
So the video released by Sky Deutschland has an ad agency, BBDO Germany, stating, tired commuters often rest their heads against windows. Suddenly, a voice inside their head is talking to them. No one else can hear this message. I mean, that's just futuristic, crazy nonsense. I don't like it at all.
Me neither.
Because to me, we're targeting someone who's tired, rather than targeting a demographic, like, you know, business professionals between ages 35 and 44, or something like that. We're targeting someone who is tired, therefore cognitively not necessarily running at 100%. It has been proven that being tired can be as detrimental to your mental processes as being intoxicated. This is proven.
Oh, yeah.
This is fact. It is one of the days of the year with more accidents than any other day of the year. Here in North America, where we have daylight savings time, is the day that the clock moves forward. That next morning, tons of accidents because people are tired, not because they got hammered that night and they're, you know, still buzzed or whatever. That's not what happened. So to me, targeting people who are tired is wrong. To me, targeting people who are sleeping is wrong because they have absolutely no defense. Now, I'm probably not the only person here who has had a dream where all of a sudden they're like, oh, you know, they have a dream where, like, you pooed in the bed only to wake up and discover that someone was talking about someone they know who did that. That's probably how those two things were related. But no, really, like you can have dreams where your alarm clock's going off, and you dream that your alarm clock's going off. So if these ads are designed to be like sounding like a maternal or a grandmotherly voice saying, you know, you should really stop riding around on that motorcycle, otherwise I'm gonna have a real hard time with the way you treat Slick, my son, because he's very tall and that fan's a health hazard, and
Keyboard.
he should be allowed to use that keyboard even though he has enough mechanical keyboards.
One thing for me is like, I have a problem if I'm too tired and my alarm goes off, I will subconsciously just turn it off and go back to sleep and have no memory of that.
Yes.
I've had some times through my life where someone can like come talk to me and leave, and I'll fall back to sleep and have no recollection of that conversation at all. And like, I'm not just being like, oh yeah, I don't remember. Like, no, I have no memory
I know,
of that.
because I've had such conversations with you.
Yes.
When you're seemingly conscious, never mind when you're half asleep.
Anyway. So if I'm so tired that I'm on the train and something's like, download this app, and it won't shut up, I might just be like, download, okay.
Like,
because what the initial...
Isn't that insane?
Oh, it's nuts. The initial advertisement is trying to get people to download some app, by the way. Are you bored on the train? You should download this Sky something app.
I don't know, this bothers me probably more than even some of the NSA crap that's going on. Like, marketing in your brain is...
utilizing information.
Like, this is tinfoil hat stuff that we're talking about here. This is like, oh, I can hear ads on the radio in my fillings.
Boom! Tinfoil hat sales. It's finally useful. Put your head against the thing and it won't transmit.
Okay, guys, you heard it here first. Linus Media Group requires a 10%, actually no, make that a 15% commission on the proceeds of your tinfoil hat sales.
And a piece of the second you put it into production.
Yeah, and 2% of which will go directly to Slick. So, I mean, on billions of sales of tinfoil hats, when everyone needs one, you're going to be a billionaire. I'm going to have more billions of dollars.
I was just going to say, that's so not fair.
Because we're both going to basically, like, sit around on our racing yachts racing each other.
We can have gold foil.
Gold foil hats.
Because we'll be so baller from the sale of tin foil hats.
I'm going to get a platinum foil hat just to one-up you.
Oh, you jerk.
All right, let's take another caller. Do we have a caller ready?
Let's see. I have build logs of the week. Whenever we're ready, they're uploaded onto the drive. Thank you, Whaler. We might have a caller. Not Dave.
Not Dave.
Unless Dave wants to come join.
Okay. If you have a caller for us, Windspeed.
Yeah, he's hopefully on his way in.
Okay.
Okay, awesome.
There we go.
Vitalius, excuse me. What is your call?
Hello?
Hello.
My question was, in Anantech's benchmarks for 4K gaming, I noticed that when it was possible, they used super sampling anti-aliasing. And if that's true, doesn't that essentially mean they tested 8K gaming, or is that not how SSAA works?
That is a very good question. And the problem with something like super sampling anti-aliasing, and here, sorry, I'm gonna knock you out here. The problem with something like super sampling anti-aliasing, or anything that simulates a different use case scenario, is that it is never really exactly the same thing. And like, okay, if you look at some of the sites that have benchmarked 4K, as well as benchmarking lower resolutions with super sampling enabled in order to simulate 4K, they don't always work out exactly the same, because the load that's put on the system is slightly different, because you're doing this weird upsample and then downsample in order to simulate a higher resolution. So no, I would not say that that's necessarily equivalent to benchmarking at 8K, but because of the way super sampling works, where it is upscaling then downsampling, it is sort of like if they were benchmarking at 8K. Great question, thank you. Do we have another caller
We
ready?
do have another caller. They're wondering how many more callers you want to take.
Let's queue up another 5. Let's do a call blitz, guys. Let's get some calls going. I want to do more. Guys, remember, you can call in using Razer Comms. You can also use Razer Comms for your gaming needs because it's, per Slick's stunning endorsement, better than Skype.
Better than Skype.
Better than the integrated Steam voice.
Better than the integrated Steam voice.
We were having that conversation with someone today. Diesel apparently uses it. It's terrible.
I was like, why? There's so many other services out there. Apparently it was other people didn't, it wasn't him, it was other people didn't want to download the voice clients. And I was, don't be lazy.
They should do that, and they should use this link. And unlike services like Vent or Mumble, I was a big advocate of for a long time, it's not a bear to admin. Razer does all the administration on their side, all of the hosting on their side, so you don't really have to think about it, and you don't have to have a dedicated server somewhere.
It brings a lot of the simplicity that a Skype-style app has, but then the gamer-like features that Skype does not have. Holy cow.
Skype seems to be just kind of falling behind.
They had so much market share of gamers for so long there, and then they're just like, whatever.
Whereas I talked to Razer, and they have users in the hundreds of thousands now on comms.
It makes sense.
So quickly.
I bet you a huge percentage of those guys were all using Skype.
Yep, probably. Okay, Mortino, you're on the show. What's your question?
Oh. We just did.
We just did, man.
Hello.
I'm typing go.
For some reason it says he's muted, but I haven't muted him. Have you guys?
No. It says he's been unmuted.
Don't worry, guys. We'll get the hang of this at some point. Someone in Twitch chat is suggesting that it's stage fright. Okay, if we can't get people rolling within sort of... Oh.
Just keep going with stream. I'll sort this guy out.
Okay. It's better to move on to the next person and put him back in the waiting room for now. Okay, so Vtel rolls out near gigabit fiber in Vermont for half the price of Google Fiber. I'm going to go ahead and bring this one up here so you guys can check this article out. This is huge. So this article is on bgr.com. Go.
So basically, oh, I thought I just heard someone else's voice there. I gotta take this off so I stop hearing myself. Basically, Google Fiber, as far as I know, is not in Vermont yet. So they grabbed a segment, because a lot of these little fiber companies are kind of popping up in different places, but avoiding each other for now, it seems. So they went in their own little catchment and made it way cheaper, which is interesting. They got a massive, what was it, $81 million stimulus package from the government. So huge.
Which is nothing compared to the package that the traditional ISPs had to roll out this crap, which they just never bothered doing.
Yep, so that's a very good point, and they just completely ignored that, never did it, and that should be illegal. But anyways, huge stimulus package. They're setting up in Vermont. It's $35, I believe. It's $35 a month, which is ridiculous. That's like we're paying way more than that for nowhere close to that in terms of service.
Yep.
And then Google Fiber's $70. It's not quite Google Fiber speeds.
No, it's 925 to 950, but both up and down.
Yeah, which is still really, really high, and basically gigabit. Google Fiber is a bit higher than that, but you're at the point where they're very similar. So you might not notice a difference.
I wouldn't notice a difference.
I personally wouldn't notice a difference either. You could, though.
Well, the thing is that if you have gigabit, you'd have to be communicating with someone else who has gigabit for you to ever even realize that you have gigabit.
Yeah.
Like.
So it's like, okay, so this is just very cool. You're paying half the price. You're getting not half the service. So that's freaking awesome. Another thing to add, which is slightly more interesting for us, is a news article from Slick's mom herself. Is that a new Vancouver-based internet provider will be offering fiber 60 times faster than Canadian average, because our average sucks, and they'll be doing it for $45 to $65 a month. It's in Vancouver. We're not close enough, I don't think, probably to benefit from this, but still very awesome because ISPs in Canada like to sit on their butts.
But the point is that it's coming.
It's coming.
And finally, I mean, this This is what Google was trying to do. I don't think they care about the competition at all.
No.
They never, I don't think they ever wanted to be an ISP.
No.
At all.
They just need everything to be faster. So by doing this, they have created competition which they want, and they're spreading their own out, which is fine. As long as it spreads everywhere at some point in time, that's what Google really wants.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised to see Google just sell off their ISP business at some point.
Who cares?
Once things are better established and just go, okay, yeah, we're done. That's good.
Sure, whatever.
Okay, bring on our next live caller, guys. In fact, I think as a general rule, what you should do is move our next live caller from the waiting room into the live show, where we will then see them, and we'll know that we're ready to rock with another live caller. So let's go. Let's do a series of live callers here, folks. This is fun. I like this live interaction thing.
We'll get better at it.
Yeah. This is the first time Razer has sponsored us to do this whole Powered by Razer comms thing for at least a couple months.
I like this live interaction thing.
All right, Mortino, mute that stream, man.
Oh.
There we go. All right, you're on live with Linus Tech Tips. What is your question?
Right on. My question is, it's kind of a two-parter. First part is, Linus, what's your opinion on dying Noctua fans? The second part is how do I put that on the forums when I've taken advice from other people, but it's been a couple of years since I've gotten that? How do I put it on the forum so other people can know how to do it, but without taking the credit for other people's work?
So how would you link to a guide that someone else has created, for example?
Yeah, well, yes, I use someone else's guide.
Well, the best way to do that would be to give the credit to the original author, so linking to the original post. This is one of the ways that forums gain notoriety in the long term as a helpful community. And actually, this is a great discussion topic because I want to talk about this in the context of Linus Tech Tips Forum as well. This is one of the ways that Linus Tech Tips Forum will grow and become stronger and a more vibrant community over time, because the more helpful our community members are, the more people will find questions posted on Extreme Systems or Overclock.net or Hard Forum or wherever else and say, hey, this has already been answered. Here's a link to Linus Tech Tips Forum where, hey, if you have an ounce of common sense, you might notice that this was answered effectively on Linus Tech Tips Forum at some point. So maybe those guys are awesome and they'll answer your questions too, and you should join it and you should come be part of it. And I forget what your first question was now.
It was dying.
Sorry, but
oh,
go ahead.
I was going to say, no, the guide that I used was from 2007 or 2008. It was a long time ago. That's what I was saying. How would I go about that?
I'm assuming it doesn't exist anymore. You can't.
I don't know. It's just been a long time. What I did was I copied what I found because it worked well for me, and I also made my own guide itself for what I changed from what I did. From when I implemented it into my own computers.
What I would do, we have if you go into the advanced editing feature in your commenter, go into there, post what you have, and post your changes. Put your changes in a different colored font. We allow different colored fonts for editorial kind of formatting style stuff. So put your changes in a different colored font. Say this is from somewhere else, but I don't remember who. If someone knows, please post it here, and then you can just do an update at some point in time. Telling who made the original version of that.
Okay, we're going to kick you, Mortino, and we'll talk about the Noctua fans now as well. So for me, dying Noctua fans is probably the only solution to using the best fans available out there, but having them not look like Noctua fans, which in the past has been a bit of a problem. They have black fans coming, but they are quite a bit more expensive than even the existing expensive fans, and dyeing them has been the only way to change the color of them without disrupting the very delicate balance of the fan and the blades and the way that they are structured to reduce noise, because Noctua fans use a lot of technology that is very unique and very fine-tuned. Even things like the texture of the blades themselves or the pattern at the back of the fin actually helps to baffle the noise output and make it more low and muted and more of a hum as opposed to a higher pitched noise. So painting disrupts it, dyeing it is great. I believe there's a guide out there for how to dye them without removing the blades from the frame. So that is probably the best way to go about that now. All right, do we have another live caller ready to rock? Looks like Jake is ready to be moved over. All right, well, Rorku, you're live on Linus Tech Tips. What is your call?
Hi.
Oh,
I was just wondering about RAM. Hello?
Hello?
Yep, you're live.
He was here. He's wondering about RAM. So...
I spoke to him before. Basically, he's looking at RAM for virtualization and what's best, like RAM speeds, cache latency, that sort of stuff.
I keep on dropping out of the chat.
Okay.
Okay, no worries. I think we've got the question now. So, Slick, I think I'll let you field this one since you're more of the expert on this.
If you're running virtualization in the idea of like a whole bunch of VMs on your own computer versus okay, actually, I'm going to change this question. If you're running virtualization as in you're pushing out to other modules like a brick on the back of, not an actual brick, but like a module brick on the back of a monitor that pushes to that computer, and you're in a library or something like that, you'll probably want nice big capacity RAM, but speeds like if you're running your own VMs on your computer and you're doing really heavy stuff, like only if you're doing really big calculation kind of stuff are you going to worry that much about speeds. I would care about stable sticks of RAM, ECC if you can get it, but probably not. Just get big caps, basically, huge capacity RAM.
Okay, and what would someone use virtualization for on their own computer? Because not every viewer necessarily knows that.
If you're going to run it on your own computer, you're probably running, say you're running Windows, and you're running it on your own computer, you're probably going to be virtualizing Linux. And if you're doing that, you're probably doing it to test like server software or test some type of environment or learn Linux in general. I know a lot of people that are going to go to school to be network administrators aren't as comfortable with Windows yet. They will run Linux in a VM so that they can still always fall back on Windows, but slowly learn Linux as they go. If you're using command line Linux, so no graphical user interface, nothing that you can click on, it's quite a learning curve. So if you don't really want a dedicated Go that, so if you can just run it in a VM, it's very similar to a full environment, and you don't have to completely rely on it.
Thank you for that. All right, why don't we talk about this student's app? So the student makes a game that can, or hold on, actually, let's do the Google releases the Google Glass FAQ first.
Okay, so this one I briefly mentioned earlier. I got to pull it up real quick here. So there was a bunch of main things. I skimmed through the whole thing. It's really long. If you are really interested in Glass, I do definitely recommend checking it out. It should be really easy to find. I'll try and tweet it out later if I can find the link for it.
Yeah, Google's SEO for their own sites is pretty good.
Yeah, so you should be able to find it pretty easily. Just Glass FAQ, I'm sure you'll be able to find it. The main things that stood out, if I can find it here, basically it's all privacy stuff with Glass. I don't know why I can't find it. But the main things were, like I brought up earlier, there will be the light that turns on if you're currently using the device. So you will know if when you're talking to someone they're using it. And then people were wondering how you would be able to know if someone's filming you or taking pictures of you. Yeah. It has to respond by voice commands. So the person would have to say, okay, Glass, take a picture, or okay, Glass, film this, to be able to actually start doing that. So their whole defense on that is that you would hear them say that. And another thing that was brought up is constant monitoring. Their defense in that is we couldn't do it if we wanted to because it's such a small device and it has such a small battery life that it's just going to die. So even if you want to, I think by default it only records in like 10-second bursts. I can't remember what it is. It says in the FAQ. So even if you want to record something longer, you can manually tell it to record longer than that, but it's really going to drain really heavily on your battery. So they don't suggest it for one, and that's their defense for saying that we're not going to be spying through the camera of your Glass at all points in time because it would just kill it anyways.
Right, but all of that is super relevant for Gen 1 of the product, but like...
Gen 1 of the product, any updates after that, and a big thing that we were just talking about is the crypto key.
Yeah.
The master crypto key, which, like, honestly can take away so many of these fairly basic security features. Yeah, like if you can remote into the device in any way and activate it without a voice command, if you can turn off that little light, because a big thing I think is going to be people at dinner talking to each other or at a meeting. So you're at an office meeting. You don't want someone using their glass.
Yeah.
Google Glass.
Well, no, I mean, there's laws in place that you're not allowed to record people without... And I mean, I know it varies from state to state, particularly in the U.S.
If you're in a public area, you're always allowed to film. If you're in a public area, you're always allowed to film.
Yeah. But that doesn't necessarily apply at work, for example.
Does not apply at work.
Yeah.
Public area as in on the street, not public area as in a building. The second you're in a building, you're not really public area anymore. So... yeah, people are already banning it. And that's another thing that Google actually talks about in the FAQ, is what does Google think about Google Glass getting banned in certain areas? They see no problem with it, which I actually found was a little bit interesting.
Okay, so they say, whether we're talking about cell phones, tablets, or wearable computers, it's clear that there are some places where using devices simply isn't appropriate.
Yeah.
For example, movie theaters don't allow you to talk on your phone, and casinos don't let you take photos with your phone. We fully expect the etiquette around wearable technology like glass to evolve as well.
Which is a really good response.
That's a very smart response.
Because they're right, it shouldn't be used in all situations.
All right, we have a caller ready. Jack, you're on.
Click the headset button. I think that's going to be a learning curve thing.
Yep.
There you go.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, Jack.
Hey, I just have a quick graphics card upgrade question.
Okay.
So right now I'm running a Sapphire 6850. My motherboard and my power supply, I can get a second one, or maybe upgrade to something like a 7870 XT or any card from this generation, because I want to upgrade. Any suggestions?
Right now, with all the frame rating stuff going on.
Okay, thanks, Jack. I'm just gonna boot you while we answer your question.
Right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jack.
See you.
Personally, right now, with all the frame rating stuff going on, I'm going to take this ear back off again. That's so confusing. I don't know how you've been able to do that this whole time.
Yeah, I know.
Right now, with all the frame rating stuff going on, I would not add another card. This is a personal thing. The choppiness drives me nuts. I would rather have it not choppy and at a slightly lower FPS, as long as that's not below a certain threshold, yada yada, than be really choppy. So personally, I would go with a single card upgrade instead of adding in another one.
Yeah, personally, same thing. I prefer single card to a multi-card configuration in most situations. So
almost all, yeah. And like at the same time, you can sell that old card. Right now, we don't have a buy-sell trade section. We are working towards that. It will probably happen eventually, but there's a lot of stuff that has to be in place before that happens because we don't want to do it wrong.
Okay, our next caller is Jake. Jake, you are live. Go.
I think he did press the button.
Dat delay.
He's typing something.
Yeah, he's typing. All right, well, not everyone's going to be able to hear your typing unless you had your mic next to the keyboard. Then they could.
People complain about that because everyone can hear my blues over the snowball.
Oh.
No, I don't mean like now.
Ah, I see. Okay. Well, we're probably going to wrap up soon. So do you want to do Build Log of the Week while Jake figures things out?
Sure. Do you have it? Because you're the one linked into the stream. I did upload it. It's not in there.
Okay, it's on Google Drive?
Yeah, it's simply called BOTW.
Of course it is. PPTX? This guy right here?
Was that uploaded today?
Yep, that's from today. Okay. All right, so I'm going to download that. Wow, that's outstanding. Look at that.
The second one.
Oh, these are both awesome. Okay, so we have 2 build logs this week. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my computer here where I can show them to you. Opening it up in PowerPoint, not in Google Docs. It's amazing how poorly Google Docs handles PowerPoints. It's just sort of terrible. We also recently got a teleprompter, which doesn't handle like slideshows at all. And the response from B-roll is, "Whoa, that's not how people use teleprompters." Well, why not? Why shouldn't you be able to click through slides and be able to refer to something? I mean, it's like, oh, well, why don't they do that on the weather? It's like, oh, well, because they have a screen for the weather. Well, yeah, but then they have to look over there in order to do the weather. It's ridiculous. They should just make a teleprompter that can look at slides. Anyway, here is Street Styler. Oh, I ruined the surprise for the next one. Okay, so Slick, go ahead. Tell us about Street Styler.
It's just an absolutely beautiful build. Honestly, I don't want to go too deeply into build logs lately. If you noticed with last week, I didn't go too deeply into either of them because I want to push people to the thread. Go check out the forum. Go tell these guys what you think because they post on the forum because they want your guys' feedback, and that's really what build logs of the week are all about. This is an amazing case in an FTO3B. Amazing build in an FTO3B. Really, really good coloring. Really, really nice sleeving. I like when they curve it really well. With sleeved cables, you can actually tell if it's just kind of randomly going wherever. Even though it's sleeved, it might not look that great. But if you have a nice curve, there's a lot of stuff you'll see with like $1 million PC branded stuff is like all their sleeving is shown. Like it's a main part of the build. So when people do that, maybe they don't have it as a main part of the build, but if you are looking at the sleeving, it always looks really sharp. Definitely something you notice with this build. I like the color scheme. We see a lot of red. We see a lot of white. We don't see that much green. So it's actually quite cool. Nice little case. I like this thing. You've built in it, correct?
Yes. It's kind of a bear to build in, particularly if you're doing something sort of complicated, like with aftermarket cooling on the GPU or whatever else. But man, it's efficiently laid out inside. It's really gorgeous.
And once you're done, like, it's so sharp.
All right, so this is the NES Gaming PC by WolfX Rage. I love it. It's like so terabad that it's awesome. Look at it.
But like, that's actually a pretty good job.
That's awesome.
It's actually pretty freaking good. Because that's hard to do. I've seen, at PAX last year, there was a NES and there was something else. I don't remember which one, but they had it so that like, when you flipped the power switch on the NES, that would be what turned on the computer. And they had,
that's cool.
It was so well made, and this is just awesome. And I love how he fit in your favorite.
Fit in a Noctua fan. Very nice. Love it.
Just so cool. It's just a really, really nice system.
Yeah, NES gaming PCs are becoming more and more of a reality in terms of the actual power that they can handle, just all the time. So this particular one has an external power supply rather than running a Pico PSU or something like that.
Which makes a lot of sense. I haven't really seen it before, but the second you kind of realize, it's like, oh, well, yeah, of course. Because you can't fit all that stuff in that small of a case very easily. You have to go with way smaller end parts. You wouldn't be able to fit like a Noctua fan.
Yeah, way lower end parts compared to what he's able to put in here with this particular build. So that's awesome.
Check out the build log. Go tell him what you think because that's what all this is about. And like his post because that's just cool.
All right, Adam, you are live on Linus Tech Tips. Go. I'm just going to make faces until people talk. Someone's just going to not talk at some point so that I just keep making faces.
Is there something wrong with the live room?
I don't think so.
Is there just a really big delay?
Shouldn't be.
Apparently he was working fine in the waiting room.
Yeah, this has happened to the last couple of callers.
This has happened to the last couple people. But it's not happening to Windspeed.
Huh. That's kind of bizarre.
Let's hang up and call back again. So
okay.
Boom. Boom. Hello? Windspeed, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Alright, Adam, are you there? I can kind of hear something. Do you hear that?
Yeah. Adam, can you hear us now?
Oh, we'll go to the next guy.
All right. Let's move on to topic. You grab another topic. Do you have the window open? I'm going to do something here real quick.
Sure. Okay, sorry guys, we will get the hang of this. This is the first time. We're actually I'm surprised that we were able to find a way to make it work at all, given that, you know, it's beta software and we've never really done this whole live calling thing before, and we totally appreciate your patience with all of this. And I think that's really, really cool. BitTorrent says, and I quote, this is an article from Digital Times, "You didn't download Game of Thrones from us." So BitTorrent, remember, is not necessarily synonymous with the technology that they've created. So BitTorrent is an actual company that wants to be content distribution, and not illegal content distribution. They want to be distribution, like a hub and a network for distributing content legitimately. So rather, I mean, because torrenting or BitTorrent has become synonymous with pirating in some ways, they get a lot of bad press that they don't necessarily deserve. So in a post on the company's blog entitled "The Real King of BitTorrent," BitTorrent's VP of Marketing, Matt Mason, took pains to distance BitTorrent, the company, from the reputation that surrounds the torrent technology itself. "The idea of a BitTorrent piracy record is a complete fabrication," he wrote, adding that there's actually no such thing as a BitTorrent piracy record because piracy happens outside the BitTorrent ecosystem. So one of the points he made here is that Epic Mealtime, a show that's been downloaded 8.6 million times on BitTorrent alone, is a completely legitimate thing, and that is about twice as many as the claimed number of pirated downloads of the finale of Game of Thrones, which is being thrown around as sort of an example of why BitTorrent is terrible and hurts the industry and all of these kinds of things. So there you have it. BitTorrent does not want to be associated with piracy necessarily. All right, we've got our next live caller. Tama, you're up. Unmute for all and go.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yep.
we can. Welcome to
All
the
right.
show.
Hey, okay. The question that I had was when I disable Vsync, okay, it's always, I feels like the mouse is a lot more smoother than if you have Vsync enabled. Like if I heard something about triple buffering or something. Is there a way to find a balance in between so the mouse doesn't feel like it's lagging so much with Vsync on? Or am I just going crazy?
Great question, Tama. I'm going to go ahead and boot you, and we're going to address that, remove from the group. Thank you for that. Vsync does introduce additional input lag. I personally can't stand Vsync, particularly when I'm using some other part of the gaming input chain that also has significant input lag. So for example, when I went from my 24-inch monitor to my 30-inch monitor, my 30-inch monitor probably had an extra 10, 15, 20 milliseconds of input lag. So while I never noticed a problem with Vsync in the past, when I was using it on my CRT or even on my older LCD, with my 30-inch monitor, all of a sudden Vsync was a huge problem. I couldn't game with it at all. And I got to the point where I completely gave up on Vsync as well as anti-aliasing, which does add a little bit of extra processing to the image as well and does slow things down a little bit, even if it's less than Vsync does. And I was just kind of willing to live with jaggies and a little bit of tearing or whatever else. Some engines are worse than others, to not have to deal with that.
Personally, I find in games that are super cinematic and single player, I will often turn on adaptive Vsync.
Yeah, okay.
Just so that things like look nicer, because I don't care as much. If I'm playing a competitive platform, I never play with Vsync on.
So there you have it. Great question. Okay, do we have another caller ready?
I'm going to give Adam another shot.
Yeah, we're giving Adam another shot. Adam, welcome to the show. What is your question? Adam, are you driving?
Yeah, no, I mean, can you hear me?
Your mic is terrible, dude. Get a new mic, but go ahead.
I'm wondering, is there any sensible upgrade from a pair of HD 555s? Like, not $600 crazy?
Okay, great question, Adam. I don't know if you heard that or not. I don't know if anyone heard that or not. But Adam is looking for an upgrade to the HD 555s from Sennheiser. Did I say 4 5s? Because I hear an echo in my head.
I think you said 3. Did
I say 3? Awesome.
So.
So he's looking for an upgrade for the HD 555s that doesn't cost like $600. Any brilliant suggestions? Go ahead.
Honestly, not really. If you're going for an open platform headphone, I would say no. I have 595s. The only reason why I have 595s is because they were on an incredible deal on Amazon.com when I bought them, and they were cheaper than 555s. Don't ask why. That deal seemed to disappear quite quickly, so it might have been an error. I'm not sure. But if you're looking for maybe a pair of closed headphones, there's a few options, but I would not upgrade from those if you're still looking for an open experience.
I mean, the reality of it is sound technology is...
not moving super quickly.
Not changing, really, a whole lot. I mean, there's fashion choices that you can make. For example, I heard the Beats are really good.
We can take another caller instead of saying silly things.
Yeah, we could do that. All right. All right. Next.
Oh, why would you do that? Now someone's going to go out and buy Beats.
No, they're not. They know better than that. They're watching the Linus Tech Tips live stream. They automatically know better than that.
There isn't any more.
Do you know that B-roll has Beats?
He has his Sony ones.
No, he has his Bose ones. He has
his
Bose
Bose ones, my bad.
And Beats.
Holy cow.
Although apparently the Bose ones that he has are not bad.
Yeah, no, I thought...
The Quiet
ones...
Comfort, whatever they are. It's
yeah,
apparently very well regarded.
Yeah, yeah. I knew those were good.
Yeah. But he has or had Beats at some
point.
point.
I think, okay, just to explain the problems we were having earlier, considering he worked this time and the previous caller worked, but a whole bunch didn't work in a row, I think what's going on is we have so many notifications coming in, because so many people are adding you, that it's just kind of having some problems. So it's beta software, guys. If we could chill out. We're not adding contacts through the Linus Tech Tips channel. We are adding contacts through WinSpeed 36. Yes. If you want to be added to possibly get onto the live stream now or in the future, please add WinSpeed 36.
Yeah, do not add Linus Tech Tips, because all you're doing is glitching out the account and ruining it for everyone.
It's beta software. It has some problems. So if we can just chill out, that would probably be good. It's doing quite well when we don't get flooded.
Yep. All right, so we're letting
okay, again, I just said that and accidentally crashed WinSpeed because he got too many requests.
Oh.
It does fine when you don't get like 200 requests at a time.
Right. So we've got, here we go. Promote to admin. So I've added Dave and Dim as admins in both channels.
Awesome. So you guys can do it through Dave or Dim. WinSpeed has 1,548 requests. So his poor little laptop and poor little Razer Comms beta software.
That fan must be just spinning like this. Remember, guys, you and all of your friends, download Razer Comms, use this link, please, because it's going to make us look really, really bad if you don't. Like, terrible. We're going to look like losers. So yeah, you and all your friends, use that link. That is phenomenally important. Oh, check this out. Diesel says there are blueberries on the kitchen counter.
I know.
Wash before eating.
I know. I'm excited.
That's after party material right there.
After party food. Yep.
Oh, that's awesome. Blueberries are awesome. Okay, so I think we've actually been streaming for about 2 hours. So what we'll probably do is maybe we'll pick up more voice calls in the after party.
Sure.
And let's get that rocking pretty quick here.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
I'll go wash blueberries.
Okay, you wash blueberries. I'll get the after party going. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to the Linus Tech Tips live stream this week. And thank you for enduring some of the sort of weirdness that we've gone through with our voice chat solution, which we are still working on. But honestly, leave us your feedback. Maybe we should get a thread started in the forum for people to discuss what they think of the live interaction. If you manage to get through, post and tell us what you thought.
If you have suggestions how we can do it better, I'm thinking we push it later in the show and have a big queue of people that are already ready to go.
Yeah.
Now that we have the system down, now that everything's ready, we can get all that working later on.
Yeah. No, because this has been fun, though.
This stream was kind of our beta.
Yes.
Our beta live stream.
Our beta stream running on beta software on, like, Beta food. That food wasn't very good. No. My burger was really cold. Yeah. These fries were like
we're
the coldest
basically cold.
So
yeah.
my Frosty was warm.
Yep.
My burger was cold. My fries were cold, and my attitude is red hot. Or I'm red hot.
As you slowly eat a fry. Oh, that's kind of gross, actually. I can hear it.
Okay, I'm sorry, everyone.
Oh, man.
It's funny because we've had people tell me I need to be more professional on the live stream, and they're right.
And you agree, and you say we're going to do it next time, and then you put dead beavers with computers on them.
Okay, that wasn't my fault. I didn't build the computer with the dead beaver.
It doesn't matter. You put it on the stream.
Okay, it's taxidermy. It's a legitimate hobby.
Not with a computer in it, though.
Apparently it is. If it's on the internet, it's legitimate, and you can quote me on that.
Oh, no. Thanks for watching.
We're sorry for everything.
Oh.